Yo, what's up, guys? And we are back with a new YouTube video. Almost said a Twitch stream. I don't do those anymore. I'm fully back on YouTube now. I'm figuring to stream on YouTube as well as give you actual content, which is sitting down, recording, doing something I want to do, plus maybe a game, maybe real life stuff, maybe reactions. I don't know. I'm just going with the flow and seeing what people react to and what people like. If you guys want to see anything in particular, please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to know that. So I thought very soon on this channel I'm going to be doing a completed playthrough of Call of Duty games, campaigns, the ones that I currently possess, the ones I currently own on my Xbox. I'm figuring to get some more. If you guys really like the series, I'd play some games that I preferably wouldn't want to play, but I'd play them for you guys anyway. So here we have the tier list. We have all these tiers. We have God, which I think are the cream of the crop when it comes to Call of Duty videos. Very good means they're very, very good, but don't just hit as good as some of the other ones that will go into the God tier. Decent, it's decent. I don't think it's the greatest. I don't think it's the worst. Never played will be, if I've never played it, I won't give my thoughts on it. And dog shit, which means don't play it. Don't play it. Don't ever play it. Don't subject yourself to that shit, because if I feel like a Call of Duty game's bad, it's fucking really bad. But so on and so forth. We're gonna get straight into it. These two Call of Duties are gonna go straight into. Is that? Yes, that is the two. I think that's 1 and 2. So, I never played those two growing up. I watched my stepbrother play them. I was too young and too naive to even realise what the bloody hell was going off on the screen. So I never played those games. We'll go with we're just going to go from across the screen now all the way to the bottom view. So Advanced Warfare. I don't want to be too harsh because it had some good qualities, but evidently it's going to go in dog shit. The multiplayer killed this game for me. It had a okay campaign. Exo Zombies tried a few things. It wasn't too bad, but ultimately the game fell flat on its arse after 2 weeks of me playing this. I was around 15 when this game came out, and this is where I dipped from Call of Duty entirely for a few years. I think I went back to FIFA. At this stage, I stopped playing Call of Duty every year, but by that time I'd stopped playing FIFA. So when Call of Duty started to get shit, I went back to FIFA. Some may say that's a stupid decision, but I digress. Black Ops, is that Black Ops 3? Yes, it is. It was decent. It had some exciting elements to it. The campaign was utter dog shit. If it was just going off the campaign, I'd say this game's going straight where Advanced Warfare is in dog shit. It's fucking bad. The campaign is awful, but the multiplayer is fun to grind, and the zombies is probably one of the best in the franchise. If you get it on PC as well, if you get it on PC, you could still have fun with it this day. I feel like the guns were good. I think this is the only advanced movement game that I genuinely enjoyed, and that was it. Like the rest of them, this is why we're going to move on to Infinity Warfare. Straight up dog shit. Campaign was an absolute clusterfuck of nothing good. It was just shit. I can't even remember a lot about it other than it had a few actors in it. It was just bad. I didn't really enjoy those two games, to be honest with you. There was just I think, did they do zombies on this? Yes, they did like funky 80s arcade. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. I remember now. The multiplayer was utter garbage. Yeah, it's just an overall really bad game. Right, now, this is where I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off. This game, going back and playing it recently with my good friend Nick, this game's very good. But before, I'd put it here. Dog shit. But going back and playing it and having hindsight now, I was quite harsh on the game. Maybe I'd go back and play these two or some of the others that I put in dog shit. And say, oh, it's actually not that too bad. But I gave this game a fucking world of a time because on launch this game had a lot of problems regarding little minor problems where it'd be laggy. You'd have to go to the center circle space. I don't know what you actually call it, but you used to sit on the beaches of Normandy, and when you first got the game, you'd have to manually go there. So you'd wait 10 minutes for the game to load, and then you'd have to go. They patched it fairly quickly, but it wasn't great. But I went back recently and played it with my good friend Nick, and I really enjoyed it. To be honest with you, it was a breath of fresh air considering how I know how shit some of the new Call of Duties are. I don't know whether we should add another tier list. I don't know whether we should add... Should we add another one between never played and decent? Yeah, can we do that? How do we add one? How do we add a row? Add a row above. No, delete a row. How do we delete? Oh, do you know what? We'll go with okay. I've kind of really switched. Do you know what? We'll swap these two. Okay. And decent. Just so we give ourselves some leeway. So Black Ops goes in decent, and we've got okay, and then we've got dog shit. Okay, so next we'll move on from there. As I was saying, World at War 2 was a decent game in my opinion. Now going back and playing it. Black Ops 4. This is the one that had no campaign, I'm thinking. Yeah, it was the one that had Blackout. I didn't play much of this game, to be honest with you, because this came out when the heat of Fortnite was going around. And I didn't play much of it, because why would you quickly put that in? I got rid of never played. I'm such a donkey. Add a row below. It's going to be blue. Yeah. Never played. Sorry about this, guys. I'm a professional YouTuber. These two never played. Fuck off. Right, Blackout. Yeah, Blackout came out during this to compete with Fortnite. It was a buggy mess of release again. Call of Duty really love doing this in the modern era. They love releasing buggy ass games. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. I'd just say it was. It's between okay and never played, because I played like a couple of hours one night with a couple of friends, and that's probably it. And I wasn't stoked about it. COD Modern Warfare 2019. Jesus Christ. It had some good elements to it. I feel like the campaign was, Jesus Christ, it was so good. That Clean House mission, Jesus Christ, probably one of the best COD missions I've ever played. I was fully immersed in that campaign. I loved it to death. From start to finish, I was hooked. Multiplayer, I actually quite grinded this game because it was in the heat of lockdown as well. So yeah, Verdansk with the introduction of Warzone, me and my friends would stay up hours during lockdown and play that. I have some good fond memories of that game. So for me, I'm going to put it in God because of the memories I had playing that game. Cold War. Right, see, this is where I'm going to probably piss a lot of other people off. I think this game's very fucking good. I think it's very fucking good. In the sense that it had a good zombies, it had a pretty awesome campaign, and also the multiplayer wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. But overall, it was a good game, and it was a fun game for the year cycle, if that makes sense. It was like, I'm not overly overjoyed with it because there's an element of annoyance in the multiplayer, because the multiplayer didn't really seem finished to me. It seemed like we were getting spoon-fed a lot of content, and I hate when Call of Duty does this. Call of Duty still does this, and I still hate it this day. Just give us a finished game and let us enjoy the game, and give us a good grinding system where we can play it all year long and not have a problem. But Cold War's campaign was really fun. I enjoyed the multiple choices. I then went back to their roots with that with Black Ops. I really liked the fact that they did that. And some missions were I like these stealth missions and how you can complete them in any way, shape, or form. There was no like set way, because Call of Duty is very linear with its gameplay normally. You have to do a mission in a certain way that the developer made it for you to do. Whereas Cold War, I think there's a couple of missions in that game where you can legit, it's like an open sandbox. You can do whatever you want and basically complete the mission however you please. Right, next. What's next? Vanguard. Oh my fucking god. This is going to the cream of crop of dog shit. This game was so fucking bad. I hate this game with a burning passion. The campaign, garbage. The multiplayer, even worse. And to top it all off, the most worst zombies experience I've ever played in my life. I have friends that are massive, massive zombie fanatics, and they'll play zombies over everything else, and they genuinely hated this game for it because the multiplayer was shit, the campaign was shit, and the zombies was terrible. The zombies mode was so, it was just so empty. There was nothing to it. It was so easy. It was so boring. It was like nothing to do. Like in a zombies mode, you just get perks for free, and it was just, it didn't make any sense. It wasn't zombies. It didn't even feel like a Call of Duty game at times, to be honest with you. The multiplayer was just, everyone just runs around like cranked all the time, and it's just like, it's too fast paced. And I get it, like some people like the fast paced Call of Duty, but when you're making a World War II game, no one's running around with 25 fucking attachments on an STG or a Garand or a Thompson or a MP40. In the 1940s, you barely had anything. You was lucky to have ammo. Like, do your research before you make a World War II game or film. Do your bloody research. Otherwise, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, you can do that with the futuristic elements and the modern things because we have those things today, and we have probably will have advanced things in the future. But when you're making a World War II game, you have to stay true to the subject matter, what your game or film or whatever your piece of media is based off. If you don't stay true to that, it just takes the player, it takes the person completely out of the world you're trying to create. And for me, that was a deal breaker. Like 25 attachments, what the fuck's weapon balance now then? So it just seems to me that they just were like copy and paste Modern Warfare 2019 but put a World War II skin on it, and it was just very clear to see that they didn't give a shit. No one cared. I felt like the only redeeming thing about that game was one mission where I think like bombs are going off in the street, like you see a plane come towards you, like art wise and the graphics of the game, astounding. I think Call of Duty always nails it in the campaign department with their pre-cut scenes, and everything looks perfect. It looks amazing, but that's not going to reign true to me or make me feel good about the game when 90% of your campaign is just cutscenes. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of cutscenes. I like to watch them. I like to immerse myself into the story through the cutscenes, but I don't want to watch a 20-minute cutscene and deal with a 20-minute shit mission that had no soul to it whatsoever. And to me, that's what turned me off of Vanguard. Here we go. Now we're into the big boys. This is the golden era of Call of Duty right now, and I'm going to put this one right here. This is what started it all. This is what made Call of Duty the absolute giant it is to this day, and I feel like this game set it all off for me. I can remember friends telling me to get a 360, play Call of Duty for Modern Warfare, and I didn't even have internet then. I didn't even know what an internet was. I was like, what's an internet? When they was like, you got to get internet, and I was like, what the bloody hell's that? And this was where I first truly played a multiplayer game, and then obviously through the years more games came out, and then we'll move on to World at War. This game, I don't know, I can't remember. I can remember playing this game a lot with my friend Nick growing up. and I have such a soft spot. These next few games will probably be going in GOAT to me because these are what I grew up on. But World at War, I have such fond memories of playing the multiplayer with Nick, the campaign with Nick, and zombies. We used to stay up hours at a time playing zombies, even though the zombies on this was very, very linear. We was so determined to get to like, I think we was trying to challenge ourselves one time to get to round 100, and we could never do it. We could never do it. But the memories I have from that game are insane. The gameplay was awesome. It was very simple, but that you didn't need to be over the top at this time. Also, the campaign was true to World War II as much as it could be. It actually had style, it had flair. Even nowadays, you have my team, enemy team. I think that's a Vanguard special. But back in the day, World War II, when you was playing multiplayer, you'd have, if you was playing it as the Japanese, you'd have a Japanese voice announcer telling you where the bomb is planted or whatever like that. It had style, it had flair to it. But whereas these newer titles, it just seems like they just chucked a load of fucking shit together, and it was like, oh yeah, just slap a £60 price tag on it and we'll make millions from it, and then we'll just shovel a load of shitty emotes into the game and all this stupid shit that doesn't need to be in a Call of Duty game. Next week I'm going to move on because I'll probably sit there and talk about that. I'll whinge about it for ages. Modern Warfare 2 is the same kettle of fish as World at War. This game, oh Jesus Christ, the amount of hours me and my buddies would play on this game was unhealthy. I think my mum, when I was younger, she actually threatened to take my Xbox off me if I didn't go outside more. So I actually joined a football team to prove to my mum I was going out and getting my health, getting healthy and being well. But no, every time I'd come home from school, it'd be homework, football, Call of Duty, and this was the game that constantly, every single day, was on my mind. Black Ops 2 was the same. The campaign, I'm going to say something about this. The campaign was absolute clusterfuck, and I loved that for some reason. It was so chaotic and over the top, but I love that. I love that. If you're in a modern setting, the more chaos, the better. But it's got to be engineered chaos. It's got to be it's got to be put in a sense where it's not being chaotic for the sake of it. It's like other games for the sake of it. So I'll move on. Like, I'm sorry, but Black Ops 1 is probably one of my favorite campaigns in the Call of Duty history. The Alex Mesa, the numbers, Victor Reznov. Oh, it's such a good story. Frank Woods is probably one of my favorite characters in Call of Duty. It was so different because before then we'd had World War II done to death. We'd had, I don't know if we had COD 4, we'd had that. We'd had the World War II absolutely done to death at this stage. So going to the Vietnam War was so much different, and you'd be playing as different characters, and there was actual real story behind everything else, because obviously the scenes were not all in order, so you was constantly like, what's going on next? You constantly want to play the next mission to figure out what's actually happening with the story. And I feel like that's where a lot of COD campaigns today just miss the mark completely, and you're just almost just running forward until you get to the end cutscene and then finish the game. Modern Warfare 3 tied off this trilogy. You know what, I'm going to put these in order. Yeah, we'll put these three games here. The Modern Warfare 3 tied off this trilogy perfectly. The campaign, when you finally get your hands on Makarov after dealing with him for over the 2 games, but actually tied back to, in Modern Warfare 3, ties back to the COD 4. So it's a full circle moment, and they finished it off perfectly. The multiplayer was just as good. I think it was just a more balanced version of Modern Warfare 2. So I feel like Modern Warfare 3, it wasn't an amazing game, but for the trilogy aspect, it was good. I get a lot of people was like, I'll tell you what, I'll knock it down a point because it was basically just a carbon copy with a finished campaign and some different Spec Ops missions. But I'll pour it down just in case people get pissed off at me. Black Ops 2, but Black Ops 2 is going in this fucking God tier list because this game is probably one of the most over. I think it was one of the most overhyped games that actually lived up to the expectation behind it, because I can remember when the people was hyping up this game and I was like, oh, for God's sake, I was so codded out by this stage. I was like, it's not going to be as good. It's going to be fucking terrible. It's like, they don't care anymore. They've finished off the trilogy with Modern Warfare 3. No one's going to give a shit. It's going to be terrible. Don't buy it. I didn't buy it for a long, long time until my friends told me, like, no, this game's fucking awesome. You need to play it. And that they were so right. The campaign with the branching stories is the first time Call of Duty ever did that. And ever since it went under the radar until Cold War. But the whole point of the branching paths was you could end the story in multiple different ways. And that's awesome to me. I don't know why Call of Duty doesn't do that more with their game. The game's linear as it is. It's run and shoot bots. It's very simple. Push this button, climb up that ladder, go and snipe this guy. It's very simple gameplay. When you add smaller elements into it, it makes the game a lot more enjoyable to play. Give me stuff to do, and this game gives you an abundance just to do, just in the campaign alone. But I will say something now. Transit Zombies is probably one of the worst Black Ops 2 zombies with the transit and all that shit. It was awful. One of the worst zombie experiences I've ever played in my life. And I don't care. You can all come for me in the comments. I don't give a shit. It's so bad. I just didn't like the whole point of traveling. If you don't travel by the bus, you'll get fucking eaten alive. The game becomes 10 times harder. The floor's fucking constantly on fire, so I'm constantly having to hop around like a fucking rabbit. It's just so bad. But the multiplayer was fun as hell. I have some of my fondest memories with my school buddies, staying on till late, playing this game, one in the chamber. It was just so fun. Gun game on this game was so fucking hectic. When you used to have like a 10-man squad, it was so funny. Ghosts. Right. I'm going to put this here. Very fucking good. Don't fucking come at me. I liked this game for what it was. The campaign was a decent campaign. They had to write new characters because they'd done the rest of them to death. I get it. You wanted returning characters. You wanted return of Captain Price. You wanted the Soap McTavish. He died in Modern Warfare 3. I mean, you wanted returning characters that you knew and already loved. So it was no point to do that because at the time they'd all been done to death. So they tried something new because you lot were screaming at them to give them new. And when you got new, you fucking hated it. But Ghosts, for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the campaign. I enjoyed the multiplayer. The Extinction mode, I think it was called, that wasn't very good. I'll give you that. That was pretty awful. But I enjoyed the multiplayer. I enjoyed the campaign a lot. I really wish they'd finish off the story because they finished this story with a fucking cliffhanger, and it's so annoying when shows and movies do that, and also when they get cancelled. I feel like that's so stupid. It's like, I get it. It didn't meet the expectations of Call of Duty, and they were pretty pissed off that it didn't make them profit, because I think this was one of the worst selling Call of Duties of all time, if I'm correct. I think it's between these two. Well, we'll move swiftly on to this one. Modern Warfare 2, the 2023 or 2022 edition. I don't fucking know at this stage. The new one, essentially, the most recent COD. I think it's decent. It has some good elements with the campaign. The campaign's probably one of the most fleshed out campaigns I've ever played. Immersive experience. The alone mission was very tense. I felt tense while playing it. It's like all of a sudden you're playing Call of Duty and then they change it and then you're fucking playing a horror game all of a sudden. And it's actually really fun in some of the missions where you're like, you're like you're in like a gunship or something like that, and you're just blowing houses up and stuff like that. It's a really fun, chaotic campaign with a good story and a good narrative to it, and it follows on from Modern Warfare 2019. Multiplayer's okay, obviously, but it's a multiplayer in 2023, so it's sweaty as hell and it ain't fun. Spec Ops is really, really fucking boring. Why have you done this? And why have you locked these raid Spec Ops missions? Why have you put them tied with the multiplayer? So I have to play fucking 10 hours of multiplayer and get all these stupid tags and tokens and shit just to play co-op. Why would you lock off half of your player base that don't want to play your fucking multiplayer just to do that? I don't know why you did that. I think it's because you kind of lost a lot of players when you announced Warzone 2, which is a flaming hot pile of garbage. Sorry, Call of Duty, but it is. But here we move on to this. I've seen the trailers, I've seen the hype. I've never played. Am I skeptical? I fucking am. I feel like this is going to be another carbon copy, multiplayer wise. I'm practically getting this game for the campaign. I hope the campaign's just as good as Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 2022, I think it is. And now we're getting Modern Warfare 3 2023. So I feel like it's going to be a carbon copy multiplayer wise. Hopefully the campaign's good. There's a zombies mode, which is a traditional one, which is kind of mixed in with Outbreak from Cold War zombies, which is it's a bit scary, but I hope they nail it out of the park with all of it, to be honest with you. I'm really wanting a Call of Duty I can sink my teeth into with a good progression system, a good campaign, a really good multiplayer. I really want to dive back into a multiplayer that I actually feel like I'm progressing rather than just chasing a fucking camo. I don't like doing that. Camo grinding to me is some of the most mind-numbing shit I have ever done. I tried to do it in Modern Warfare 2 because a bunch of the other guys were doing it. It drove me up the fucking wall for months. It was so stupid. It's so tedious when you're trying to get a stupid gun to level 18 to unlock a submachine gun. So go get the 10 headshots with this shotgun that no one ever uses because it's dog shit. It just doesn't make no sense to me. Give me the original COD 4 Modern Warfare 2 progression system where I can rank up, I can prestige, I can get levels of prestige. It just makes more of a fun, entertaining thing, but they won't do that because that fucks up the whole system of the battle pass. The battle pass in these new games ruin everything with regards to grinding a COD game like you used to. So, and they're going to obviously favor the battle pass idea because it makes them more money. We put all these shitty skins on the guns. These dipshit 12-year-olds will buy them. So that's my tier list. If you agree with me, let me in the comments below. If you disagree with me, let me know also. But that's my tier list. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Peace.